Hello and welcome. And this is Japan. We have a special bracket fight here. This one's going to be I, I don't even want to say controversial, but this one's going to be a hard to judge one. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of opinions on it. So sound off on the comments because I have a feeling this one is going to probably change, like make people decide. So we're going to do Dead by Daylight Killers 1v1. Like, see who the best one is. I don't actually, off the top of my head, know who I think is going to win, so I'm just going to do it in real time and go from there. And we'll see what you guys agree. So, first off, we have Hillbilly versus the Doctor. Um, this one's kind of a weird one because, like, I feel like Hillbilly's speed would be very hard to, match, but like the Doctor's insanity and stuff is kind of interesting. They seem to be polar opposites of like speed and almost like I wouldn't say strength, but like the ability to stop him. Because I instantly fought the Doctor, but the more I think about it, I'm like it's gonna be hard to beat Hillbilly's speed without having like a full. I don't know. It's like you won't really have the way to get out of it. I think I'm gonna go Hillbilly here. I don't know. It's an interesting one. This one's a little bit easier. This is Freddy versus the pig. I feel like Freddy being like a undead supernatural type creature versus just kind of a normal human. I think Freddy wins. I don't think any of the Saw traps would actually work on Freddy, at least not in the regular world, but you never know. Nurse versus Huntress. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think this would be it. I thought this would be a little bit more cut and dry, but some of them is just like it's that whole speed versus strength thing, and I don't know. So Nurse could be blinking around Huntress with just brutal strength. I mean, I feel like if the Huntress got one swing in, she could take out the Nurse pretty easily. But it's like that getting in front of her and stuff. I feel confident enough that the Huntress would be able to maybe take one or two stabs and then be able to get at least one a hatchet into the Nurse. We don't really know the like durability of the killers because like we can't kill them. We can't do anything like that. So I'm gonna go Huntress here. Might be a little controversial there. Bubba versus the Spirit. I think the speed of the Spirit would be very hard to go against, and I don't think like if you chopped up the Spirit, it would really matter, right? Because she's like a ghost. So I think you'd have to do something really nasty to her to get past her. I don't think Bubba would have the speed. I think the Nurse could get a bunch of stabs in before Bubba could take her out. I'm gonna go Spirit here. We got the Clown versus the Plague. I feel like these are more matched on speed wise. Strength, I think like the Clown would probably be just a tad stronger, but I don't feel like anything that the Clown could throw at the Plague would actually do anything to her, right? Because like she's already corrupted, and I feel like she's probably immune to stuff now, even though I mean because she's undead. So I'm gonna go with the Plague here. That'd be a nasty battle. Bing Bong versus Trapper. I feel like unless the Wraith like lands on one of his traps, I feel like the ability to sneak up on the Trapper would be pretty clutch right there. I think I'm gonna go with Bing Bong. Alien Xenomorph versus Ghostface. Well, I feel like the Xenomorph has every advantage here: strength, speed, all that. I mean, I even think like some of the Xenomorphs are just so like combat ready and like understand strategy that I don't even know if that would help him. And even if he stabs them, like we already know the acid blood. So I feel like Aliens got it in the bag there. Mikey versus the Hag. Dang, like Mikey has such like almost supernatural natural strength and like his like almost inability to die, but like the Hag can teleport around the map and I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Mikey here. I don't know. I just have a feeling Mikey could win. Legion versus Demogorgon, I feel is very one sided. I feel like the Legion would try to do his best, but it's still a Demogorgon. I feel like it's still just absolutely terrifying. Freddy versus Hillbilly is kind of interesting. Like it's just really hard to judge Freddy's durability, like if he's sleeping I think he has the advantage over Hillbilly, or like if Hillbilly's sleeping. But like just in a one-on-one fight, like it's hard to beat Hillbilly with his speed. And I would assume he could just like chop him up. I don't know if any damage would actually work. I mean, we saw it in Freddy versus Jason. Like, um, he got his head cut off and he was like still alive, or I'm not really sure. I'm gonna go because it's a hard to judge. I'm gonna go with my gut and go Hillbilly here. And we got Huntress and Spirit. I feel like, unlike the nurse that the Huntress took down in round one, I think the Spirit would be a lot harder because it's like I feel like she'll take more damage because she's undead, and by the time you know she, you really start getting her hacked away, I think the Spirit would be able to take out Huntress. So I'm gonna go Spirit here. Plague versus Bing Bong. I feel like the Plague has that stealth advantage. I don't think there's any beating him with that right away, because it's like you really got to have like a good set of skills to take him out, and I don't think the Plague necessarily does. Though I was just thinking if the Plague could somehow vomit around her, and like maybe the outline of the vomit could stick on it. I'm actually kind of thinking that Plague might have a slight advantage here with that. I think I'm gonna go with Plague. I feel like her vomit might actually be key. Xenomorph versus Mikey. I think the Xenomorph wins. Again, just it's the Xenomorph. Looks like Demogorgon got a first round or next round bye. Hillbilly versus Spirit. I think this is where Hillbilly's luck runs out, and I think Spirit wins. Speed and strength, I think, still can't beat the teleporting and kind of durability thing. It's gonna have to be something that really can get a hold of her, and I feel like Hillbilly's just not quite there. So I'm gonna go Spirit. Plague versus Alien again. I think that Xenomorph is just too big, and I think the vomit would have nothing on her, or like on the Xenomorph. I don't think the vomit would do anything to the Xenomorph at all. So that's a big weapon to just be automatically done with, and all you would have is your lantern. And I don't think again like a bludgeoning it's gonna really work out too well for her. Xenomorph. Xenomorph versus the Spirit. I feel like this is where it comes controversial of like I don't know. I feel like Spirit bouncing around the Xenomorph and stabbing at it can only do so much because of like how much the Xenomorph has in the ability to move around. So eventually it's gonna catch it. It has multiple things like the tail, its arms, its mouth, anything that it could actually hit her with. He just has to get that initial hit, and if it could keep going after her. Obviously, I think the Spirit is corporeal enough to take damage because she takes it like by getting hit by a pallet and stuff. So I'm gonna go Xenomorph. Now we got Xenomorph versus Demogorgon. I feel like this would be an all-out brawl. I think this is the top two on this bracket. Like I think it worked out perfectly, even though like the Demogorgon got a easier ride here. I feel like it's neck and neck, and I think it comes down to the Xenomorph's blood. I feel like no matter what the Demogorgon ripping into it, unless it's acid resistant, which we have no evidence that it is, um, I feel like the amount of damage the Demogorgon could do is only limited to how much it's going to take back from doing that damage. So I'm going to go Xenomorph here. Now to the other side of the bracket, we got Deathslinger versus Oni. This is one where like Deathslinger's main ability is to like hook somebody up and bring them in. I don't think that's the person you want to bring in. I think Oni wants to get close. He would just absolutely annihilate Deathslinger. Blight versus Pyramid Head. Ooh, this one's kind of a weird one because it's like Pyramid Head I think has the disadvantage to speed, and Blight would be able to just zip around, but I feel like I don't know how much Blight could actually just like attack him, because like if he can get the barbed wire around him and if he gets one swing on, I think that ends Blight. It's like I think he just has to do one, and I don't know how much damage he can do before eventually getting caught by Pyramid Head. I'm gonna go Pyramid Head. The twins versus the Trickster. I feel like It's a 2-on-1 fight. I feel like the twins are a little bit slower, and with between the like knife throwing and the bat, I probably am gonna go with the trickster. I think this is one where honestly, if you go either way on it, it's like 51% to like 49% to me, where it's just narrowly the trickster. But if somebody said the twins, I wouldn't also not disagree. So we'll go trickster here. Next up is Wesker versus Dredge. This one's like it should be Wesker, but like Dredge has like some abilities that are very realm based. Like I think he's kind of set in the realm of like, the entity. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like it ever came out that he's just like pieces of survivors that just fully died there or something because it's like what is he like do outside? Can he go into closets instead of lockers? Like the darkness is still pretty good. I feel like the virus that's going through Wesker can still make him very durable to take out the blight, or not the blight, the the dredge, but I think like we still get the same results of Wesker winning here. Spirit versus the Ring. See, Sadako, I don't really understand like her abilities if you don't watch the tape. Like I don't know necessarily like even in like Dead by Daylight, she just has limited of going around and then using a little bit of like force magic against somebody who's like full grown with the ability to be mobile and stay away from her. I feel like the artist has a slight advantage. Wow. Um, this one's difficult. Pinhead versus Nemesis. Nemesis is like literally a killing machine, and I feel like it took a lot to even take him down. But it's like, how much damage could you actually do to Pinhead before he could get you hooked up? It's the problem. Like, could his hooks hold Nemesis? Like, I don't know exactly how that works because it's like we can break them in the game, but like, can we break them in real life? I'm gonna go with my gut here and go Nemesis, but that's another one that's so close that if you said it the other way around, I wouldn't disagree either. Singularity versus Chucky. I feel like Chucky's size advantage would be the thing that could get him. I feel like he could get enough stabs off and take out Singularity. We don't really know exactly how much Singularity can like move or what takes him out, but he's so fleshy and stuff that I think if he stabbed around his head area, I think he'd eventually be taken out. And I don't think there's anything Singularity could do to Chucky. I mean, if you like rip him in half and stuff, certain versions of him doesn't even you know stop to that. So I'm gonna go Chucky here. Vecna versus Unknown. Ooh, right off the bat, you got such a huge like they're both brand new killers and they're both like so kind of like OP to a certain extent. I think you gotta go Vecna here. I think like he has so many more abilities and he can just kind of stay away from the unknown. And I think the unknown, we don't really know anything about it to be what its weakness is or even how to stop it. But I don't know. A Lynch is kind of hard to beat. Skull Merchant versus Knight. Oh, they would just both be sitting back and letting their minions do stuff. Either drones versus the guys. I feel like head to head though, I feel I'm gonna go with the slight advantage to the knight because of the armor. I feel like Skull Merchant would put in a lot of damage and should be able to nearly beat him. It's just the armor is like so hard to like destroy, and I don't know about the knight. I think he's undead inside, so like I don't think there's so much you could do to him with just one singularity blade. So I'm gonna go knight here. Oni versus Pyramid Head. This is another one that I feel like just would be so like a brawl and like they would just be beating the ever living piss out of each other. I'm gonna just go with the Oni. I feel like the Oni's rage and the Oni's like abilities that way make him so like unpredictable and strong that like there's just that ability to like if he just keeps going at it, I don't think there's any way to really just stop Oni like outright. So I'm gonna go Oni here. Trickster versus Wesker, I think is a lot more simple. I think Wesker wins here. Artist versus Nemesis. I don't think the artist could stand getting assaulted by the Nemesis. I think like if she finally had a small enough positions between the tentacle whip and just the brute strength, I think Nemesis wins here. Chucky versus Vecna. I think this is where Chucky's thing would mess up. Plus, he's kind of weightless. I think Mage Hand would even be able to just move Chucky away from him. I think Vecna wins here pretty easily. Let me go back up to the top of the bracket. Wesker versus Oni. Another, I think like Oni's just getting like full out like just brawl after brawl. Like this is gonna be another one that he's gonna have to take everything to take him out. I still think I give the advantage to Oni. The only reason I would think Wesker might have a little bit of a chance is I don't know how much like Wesker bleeds to a certain extent, but I feel like he still has some regular blood in there, so and maybe even the virus blood would even make Oni go even more insane. So I'm gonna go Oni there. Nemesis versus Vecna. I think Vecna has enough skills and abilities to stay away from Nemesis that he would be able to eventually take him down between his throwing out ability and everything. I think I'm gonna go Vecna here. I don't know if it's just recency bias or just because like I think he's pretty OP in the game, but let's go with that. Oni versus Vecna. This is one I'm not really confident, even though it's like later in the round. I figured, you kind of figured you got it more down pat, but I really don't think I have this one. I'm gonna go with just the with Vecna's ability to be kind of far away, having the ability to fly faster than Oni, and then just the ability to be able to hit him from long distances. I think that one key thing kind of puts them apart. And there's no blood on the Lynch for sure, so I feel like that might also maybe not allow Oni to go to like that next level that he could with other stuff. So we'll go Lynch here. Lynch versus Knight, I think, is a little bit more simple. It's undead versus undead, but I think the undead necromancing demigod almost. I think Lynch wins. Lynch versus Xenomorph is absolutely insane. Now, in the comments below, what you guys do, obviously tell your opinion about the whole thing, but coming down to this final two, I really want to know who you guys would have picked because I feel like we need a poll for it because I think it's very, very close. I think I'm just going to base it off of everything that we've said before. I feel really decent to say that I think Lynch would beat the Xenomorph. I think the Xenomorph would have a lot of ability to go after him, but I think a lot of the advantage that the Xenomorph has, like with the stabbing and with the blood, I don't think that falls into effect here. I really don't. I think like there's really just the brutal strength and speed that Alien has, but Vecna still has everything else. He has the ability to fly. He has the ability to do a bunch of ranged attacks, and just I think all of that kind of brings it up to Vecna winning here, which I was surprised. I mean, like it makes sense. He's a very powerful creature in D&D. He's a very powerful creature in Dead by Daylight. So all of that makes sense. It's just not exactly what you think sometimes is going to be the result. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Tell me what you guys think below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.